So, the predator has finally become prey. Finally found out what happened to Lauren Melville last night. He was literally and metaphorically trapped.
Yes, he was.
As was Lester. Lester was more metaphorically trapped.
You could say that Lester cracked under his own weight finally.
Yes, we're being very...
We're trying to be as literary as the show has been. Of course, last night was the finale of Fargo, the series, the FX series, Noah Hawley's really brilliant twist on kind of inspired by the original movie. Last night came to a conclusion. What are your thoughts?
You know, as much as I love the show, the whole season, the second to last show was my favorite episode. So much happened. You saw the character development come, like you saw the whole picture. And then last night, I think, as often happens with shows, is that you're really into, you're let down a little bit.
Drop off.
So I don't know. I after last night, I was a little bit disappointed in it, but as a whole, I thought the show was incredible.
I agree. I was a little disappointed. Some of the conclusions were, while fulfilling in its result, kind of unfulfilling in how they wound out. And also the thing really about the show is that it was mostly a dark comedy all the way through. Last night there weren't very many laughs.
No.
It was kind of nice. It was nice that we got a revisit from the first episode. A lot of nice nods to other episodes and to the movie. The first episode, the guy who Lester's trying to scare into buying life insurance by telling him something bad could happen to him at work while he's there with his wife, and he tells Lester that he's a librarian. He comes back to the show. He is a used car salesman. He says hi to Lester in the cafe in the first part of the show. The show opens up. Lester over the body of his dead second wife.
His second dead wife.
The other Mrs. Nygaard.
Yeah.
And some great fake crying.
Yeah.
Aw, jeez.
Aw, jeez. You know, I think that it was... You saw Lester's character and that emotional side of him worked in the past, and he was just grasping, as he did the whole show, but you had less sympathy for him this time.
Well, I think we lost sympathy for him at the end of the previous episode
where he
throws his wife to Lauren Malvo to gun down, and then you get the feeling that when he's breathing heavily, it's not so much that he's worried for her, but that he's rather relieved that he has escaped Malvo for the time being.
Right. So they bring Lester in again to question him, both on the Las Vegas murders and now on the second Mrs. Nygaard's murder. And he goes to jail, and
he lawyers up, and so they hold him overnight, kind of for his own protection.
But he doesn't see it that way. The whole time it's about Lester.
Yeah, it's that he's not a monster that they think he is. But he is. He's actually worse. Yeah.
So we have the two... I thought that was a really poetic moment when Molly is dropping Lester, or letting Lester go, and she tells a story of, if you lose one glove, you might as well drop the other so that whoever finds them has a pair.
And Lester, of course, says, What do you mean?
Huh?
What do you mean?
What? Huh?
What are you trying to say? And she says, flat out, goodbye, Mr. Nygaard.
Yeah.
And she is, I think as you posted, she's sending him to the wolves.
Yeah, she's throwing him to the wolves. She's throwing the glove to the wolves. And so he gets brought to his house by Key and Peele, which I said that I was going to be really upset if anything happened to Key and Peele. And
Budge and Pepper, or Budge and...
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. But sure enough...
Well, they are such bad cops. I mean, why would you have...
Are they worse than Gus, though, or Bill?
Yes, because why would you assign the two guys who basically napped through the Fargo crime syndicate massacre? Why would you have them parked out in front in the driveway of somebody, a witness and maybe even more to a murder? Of course, they are done in by Lauren again. Brilliant, conniving, thinking.
Who duct tapes the car salesman.
He loves duct tape.
He does. I liked was it you that said that they should do a product placement.
They should. It wasn't me, but yeah, somebody did notice that. And then also when they realize that the guy in the car is maybe not who they think it is, the one turns to the other, says, "Is this a dream? This is a dream." And Lauren comes out of the woods, guns them down. Again, kind of we don't know for sure, but these characters, is it Budge and Pepper?
I think so.
Something like that. But they seem to be kind of like an absurdist element, like the characters in Waiting for Godot or Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. They're questioning why they're there, who they are, what they're supposed to be doing. It was a nice kind of distraction, but you could kind of see them go.
Yeah. And so Lester's in his house, and he's worried, and he has Chaz's old hunting gear, and they show a bear trap, but they don't show what he's doing. So he's furiously unpacking their suitcases, and hides in the bathroom to call the police, and Melvo comes in, steps in the bear trap, and ooh.
Ouch! That's gotta hurt.
Got it. And so he kind of pulls an Oscar Pistorius and shoots...
Starts
through the door.
Through the door. Again, kind of for, I think, the Blood Simple, the very first Coen Brothers movie, there's a nice little scene where there's shots in a wall. That was kind of a nice little homage to that.
Yeah, I can see that.
But the thing with that is, again, okay, do you think that Lester was actually calling 911?
No.
Or he was just luring him in?
Right.
Lester's conniving.
He
Squirrely
is.
smart.
I don't know that he's smart, but he's conniving.
He's conniving, touché.
So,
But before it's all said and done, Lauren Malvo throws Lester's own Insurance Salesman of the Year trophy at him, busts up his face. I thought that was a nice touch. Lester is constantly done in by his own perceived greatness.
Yes. And so, meanwhile, Gus has asked Molly not to go out of the police station. He wants her to stay there. And in kind of a jerk move, he guilts her into he doesn't want his daughter to have to go to another funeral. Right. I was not impressed with Gus. Not much that Gus has done impresses me, but
no, not only that, but that Gus, he says he can't ask his daughter to go to his own funeral. It's like, doesn't he care about her? Why can't Gus say, "Look, I love you. I don't want to see anything bad happen to you"?
Because he's from the Midwest.
This was infuriating for me because I'm sure that this will become an issue for feminists. The whole theme of the show was basically men being overprotective of women.
Except for Lester.
Except for Lester.
Lester's
got no qualms about sending his wife in to get gunned down.
No.
But yeah, so Gus tells Molly to stay in the office to be safe.
Meanwhile, he sees Lauren.
He's driving around the country.
And he sees Lauren's red BMW parked outside a cabin. And I was so waiting for a wood chipper.
And a wolf.
A wolf. I was so waiting for a wood chipper to come into last night. I was so disappointed to end up at that cabin.
Of all the nods to the movie, wood chipper, not in there.
Disappointed. So after Lauren narrowly escapes the bear trap, he goes back to his cabin to patch up his wound. And ooh, did you know a bear trap could do that to your leg?
I figured it could break a leg. I didn't know his leg was broken, actually snapped. But yeah, so he's got to reset that. I will say that in a show that has been bloody and really gruesome.
They killed a dog.
They slit its throat all the way through in 10 episodes. That was probably the most gruesome, harrowing.
That was the only time. I'm a weakling when it comes to blood, and that was the only time I had to be like, tell me when it's over.
So he sets his leg. He's got a moment where he looks out the window, sees the wolf. The wolf's out there. And so you're kind of wondering, Lauren, who's been making references to predators, loves telling predator stories. Is this kin? Is this what is the connection with him and the wolf? I think it means that the wolf is free outside. Lauren now knows he's done in. He's trapped inside. He's hobbled, and out from the shadows
walks Gus.
Gus Grimley.
And he tells him he's so dumb because he didn't actually figure out the shades of green thing.
Did.
Molly told him. And he figures it out, and he shoots him 3 times, and Lauren's still alive.
Still alive. He's so bad, he gets.
He's like 5 feet away from him. He shoots him 3 times, and he's still alive.
Exactly. From 30 feet away, Gus can shoot out a spleen, but from 5 feet away, he can't. He pumps 3 shots into the chest. Can't take down a guy.
So then finally finishes him off with 2 shots in the face. We know that there's no chance that Lauren will be back for a future.
But then when
season.
Gus picks up the knife that Lauren had cut open his pant leg with, I wondered, is he going to decapitate him? I was going to go. Yeah, I thought he would go to make sure, because he tells Molly. Molly says, "I'll come out when we have him surrounded." And Gus says, "No, when we know he's dead." After he lurched forward, I thought, how is he going to know he's dead unless he really? And also to make him a trophy. Okay, I'm going
weird.
dark. I'm going
That's
dark.
weird. I thought it was funny when he grabbed the knife because I was like, clearly he's dead. You shot him in the face twice. And he was like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
But
well,
whatever.
So then now the next scene, Molly finally arrives on the scene. Again, I have to say, again, frustrated that Molly is told to stay inside. Her dad goes to take care of Greta by sitting out on the porch
with a
shotgun on his lap. Like, is he also scaring away possible suitors? And the guy's an ex-cop. Doesn't he realize bad guys can come in through the back door?
Apparently not.
And then the kind of the dim-witted receptionist at the cop shop, she closes up the building in the middle of day because all of the officers are out on patrol. It was bothersome that all the female characters had to be protected.
Very scared, yes.
Yeah, and that was actually, Greta's not scared, but that was.
She goes and gets her 22, but then she tells her grandpa, her step grandpa, "I'll shoot his eye out, but you can take care of him."
Yeah, you can finish him off.
Yeah, it was a sad day for women in Bemidji.
It was not. It was not, which is really frustrating because, again, Marge Gunderson, who's the basis for the movie, was really the movie's such a strong character, regardless of female at all, but such a strong character, and they just kind of let all that go.
Mm-hmm. So Lester gets away, narrowly escapes, and they cut to a scene of him, where was it, in Montana
Glacier
somewhere?
National Park in Montana.
And he's on a snowmobile going 2 miles an hour without a helmet.
Assuming he's making a run for the Canadian border, which is kind of odd, but I suppose... Sure. It's kind of, again, kind of a nod to the movie where Jerry Lundegaard is arrested outside of Bismarck. Lester is now further out west. He's made it farther on a snowmobile. Gets chased by the local authorities, park rangers, out onto thin ice.
Where he's been... That illusion for me was a little too thin, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Clearly Lester was on thin ice from the first episode. Goes out on thin ice, he falls through.
He doesn't crack earlier in the show when he's being interrogated.
But finally he cracked.
But and again, the one thing I did like about that, I thought it was actually a beautifully played scene. That was one of the times the cinematography of the show really worked. Beautiful overhead scene. You see these cracks, really not very realistic, but these cracks all along the lake.
Anyone who's been on a lake knows that's not how it looks.
No.
That's not how it would go down.
No. But Lester has got this one last look of just kind of, what? And then, boom, goes down.
Yeah.
But
sinks like a
stone. Sinks like a stone because he's brought down by his own. He thinks that he's beat. He's won out. He thinks he's better than he actually is, and he's constantly undoes himself.
Mm-hmm. So what everyone is talking about today is, will there be a season 2? And I think the answer that we have is yes, but they haven't confirmed it yet. And here's my prediction for what season 2. Last night was, I don't know how many times they said, it was 3 or 4 times they talked about Sioux Falls, 1979. Mm-hmm. I think season 2 is going to take us back to Molly's dad and what happened, and tell us finally what happened in Sioux Falls in 1979. Last night he talked about how the bodies were stacked up 2 stories high by the end of it.
That was 2 weeks ago, but yeah.
Oh yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Yep, that's when he has the showdown with Lauren in the cafe.
Right.
But then last night he talks to Greta on the porch. And she said, have you ever done this? Have you ever watched Guard? He goes, one night, 1979, your mom was inside, or your stepmom was inside, 4 years old. And she said, did he come? He said, or no, he said, something that he says, it wasn't a matter of who,
it was a matter of when.
What?
Oh, what? Oh, what?
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah, I thought it was what. So again, you're talking about as an allusion maybe to Lauren and evil, that it's not personified by a person. Again, as she even says earlier, she's warning Lester, he's not going to stop if he's even man at all. No, he's not going to stop. He's not a man, basically. So
he's an animal.
He's an animal.
So what? I mean, do you have predictions for season 2?
I think season 2 in Sioux Falls would be a logical step. It'll be interesting. And Lauren Noah Hawley said that FX will go ahead with it, assuming he can come up with a good storyline that will be as good or better. Again, we shouldn't expect this to see any of the same people. Maybe Lou Solverson
and then baby Molly.
Yes, there could be a baby Molly. And so we'll see. But again, last night's...
and that could be a way to... I don't know how they're going to young down Billy Bob Thornton to go 25 years back. But, I mean, it could have been Lorne back then, too.
It could have been. Or, yes, a different...
I bet he was working for the Fargo Crime Syndicate then.
Oh, you think that's why he got to gun them all down?
I don't know. That's just my guess. I don't know.
Could have been. Again, wrapping up though, it was a good season. It delivered a lot more than I thought it would. Last night didn't quite deliver.
I was most disappointed with the way Lauren was caught. I didn't want it to be Gus, but I understand why it ended up being him, and I just expected a Fargo-ier death.
You wanted the wood chipper.
I wanted my wood chipper.
I thought that Molly would be and I thought it would be justice for Molly to bring in Lester.
Yeah.
We've seen her grow over the previous 9 episodes.
She figured it all out, and Dopey Gus was just along for the ride.
She was the only one who all the way through said it was Lester. It would have been great to see her bring in her man, and yet he gets away, done in by his own beliefs. That was unfulfilling, and that weighs against how great the show had been. Last night also not a lot of really good lines. One of the best scenes, the best lines of dialogue back and forth is Bill. Again, kind of surprised us when he basically says he can't do this anymore. He thinks that Molly's better for the job, which was a nice tip of the hat. But then he talks about the humanity. The inhumanity that he's seen. He didn't expect that. All he really wanted was a stack of pancakes and a V8. I thought that was really pretty sweet.
And actually, I thought sitting by the fire drinking sounded
Staring
better.
into the fire
Staring
drinking.
into the fire drinking sounded better than a stack of pancakes and V8. Yes. But we all have our quirks, I guess.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
But
so
I digress.
What if you had to give this a rating? What would you do it?
The episode or the
season as a whole?
The season as a whole, I think last night it brought it down a little bit. I'd give it an 8.
An 8
out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm at like a 7.5, just because
Really?
I don't want to agree with you.
No one ever does.
I'm at like a 7.5. Yeah, I thought last night really did bring it down a lot.
And again, the previous 2 episodes I thought really elevated it to a great, great show. Really I would say one of the top 20 shows.
And I think it will see that praise at the Emmys this year, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see what FX announces for a second season. It's kind of a scary thing when you don't know if it's coming back.
Don't you know?
So scary.
What's their dialogue like in Sioux Falls then?
I don't know. They probably talk about like we do.
I suppose. It won't be as cold though.
No, I suppose not.
No, I suppose.
We'll just have to. It is what it is.
Oh, jeez.